Hi there, Sam here with Nerd Nation. I'm going to be talking about Coming to America 2. This is a spoiler review, it's not a breakdown. I've just finished watching the film, you see, so I want to quickly talk about how I feel about this movie, and I will be mentioning parts of the film to basically express how I feel about this film. So, let me quickly tell you how I feel about this film. I did like it. I liked this film more than I thought I would. After watching the trailers, I thought to myself, this film's going to be a pile of fucking shit. It's a cash in. They're going to be cashing in on the nostalgia. But I'll be honest with you, the nostalgia for the sake of humor and just putting a smile on my face, it worked. It did work. This is actually a better film than I expected, and I think anyone who enjoyed the first movie will definitely enjoy this movie. Now, regarding the film itself, it felt like a musical at times. It really did. People would be coming into, entering rooms, and they'll be fucking walking in unison and dancing, and all this choreography's going and shit like that, and they're spinning around, whacking their drums. It was bizarre. I expected people to start, when Wesley Snipes was doing this with his contingent, I expected him to start bursting into song. Talking about some of the characters in the film, Wesley Snipes' character played a dictator of a neighboring country. Now he seemed like somebody in the trailers like who could steal the show of this movie, but unfortunately he didn't. This mad dictator was always bubbling under the surface, but we never saw it into fruition. I wanted to see him be this evil, fucking crazy dictator, and I would love to see them put a humorous spin on it, the same way they finally did in that Sacha Baron Cohen movie called The Dictator, I believe. So, yeah, put that spin on it, and it would have been even funnier in my opinion. But unfortunately, they didn't, and that's why Wesley Snipes' character didn't steal the show. But regarding the story of the film, very quick breakdown of that. Basically, Zamunda, and I might call this country Wakanda on a few occasions, might go to war with their neighboring country, which is Wesley Snipes' country. But on different occasions, they've tried to get their family members to marry each other. In the first film, the girl which was supposed to marry Akeem, the one he told to stand on one foot and bark like a dog, that is Wesley Snipes' sister. And apparently, she's still standing on one foot and barking like a dog, or hopping on one foot and barking like a dog, because after 30 years, Akeem hasn't told her not to. And he didn't realize he had to. So she's still fucking doing it. And the other family members try to intertwine and stuff like that, but it's not really happening. We also find out that Akeem has an illegitimate son he didn't realize he had in America, because whilst they were in America in the first film, we do see some amazing scenes where we see original footage as well as merged with off-screen footage, which didn't happen in the first film, but they created for this film, and then they used de-aging technology. It was really well done how they merged some of the scenes from the first film to create scenes they created in for this film, just to give you more flashback about the first film. And the de-aging technology was pretty well done here. And Hakeem actually assumed that he was fighting a ram, but he was hallucinating, and he wasn't fighting a ram. He was being shagged by Leslie Chapman, somebody who I can't really tolerate too much, because all she ever does is play a loudmouth fucking American. Same with Tracy Morgan. He always plays a loudmouth American, and these two actors, I don't tolerate them too much. I can't stand them. But fortunately for me, they weren't too much in this movie. They had their moments. They had to be sewn into the film here and there to keep the story going, but they weren't the main parts of the film. But because Akeem now has a son, he's very happy, because he realizes that he could this young lad could fulfill his the requirements of Zamunda, where only a male can take over as king of Zamunda, a woman can't, and this obviously pisses off Akeem's eldest daughter, because she's been grooming herself to take over as queen after her father passes. Now, obviously, someone like Akeem should be a more progressive character after we saw him in the first movie, but he seems to be following the traditions of his fathers before him, and nothing much has changed. And because of this narrative of maybe a woman can't take over and be heir, obviously that gets challenged in this film, and rightfully fucking so. Now, Regarding some of the other characters, we do get a lot of returning characters from the first movie. You do have to recall and remember that some of these characters were played by Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, all these other characters like the Jewish guy in the barbershop, and the barbershop guys themselves. You know, that guy Reggie or something like that, sexual chocolate geezer. You got the crazy priest who's played by Arsenio Hall. So there's a lot of returning characters played simply by the same actors. But you know, you got the owner of McDowell's, who's his wife's father, and he actually has a McDowell's in Zamunda, and the guy who washes the letters, he's running that. He's still there as well, which is pretty cool. Even the geezer who is saying who's saying she's your queen. That guy, he's there. They're all there. Unfortunately, Samuel L. Jackson's not there, but we do get Morgan Freeman, who ends up narrating James Earl Jones's funeral, which he wants to have while he's alive, and ends up dying during the course of his own fucking funeral. Touching moment, but also funny. So, when it comes to the further on in the plot of the film, even though Akeem's son, and his name is Lowell Johnson, has everything he could ever imagine after coming up and being brought up poor in New York. He's got the lot. He's got a fucking castle. He could be king. You know, he can have fine ass women cleaning his balls and everything. You know, he can have everything. But you know, being brought up sometimes being brought up, you know, in the settled settings he's in is sometimes really what he wants, but just a bit more easier. And he doesn't necessarily want to be living in a castle and shit. He ends up falling in love with a regular girl, one of the servant girls. You know, he has a connection with her, and that's who he wants to be with. And he doesn't want to be a fucking king. And it takes Akeem a moment of you know, I don't know, I can't think of the words right now, but self-clarity, I guess, self-knowledge, self-acknowledgement. You know, to remember that he went to America to find somebody he could connect with, and his son has found somebody he can connect with, and he made him realize that, you know, what his son is doing is the right thing. Unfortunately for him as well, his daughters are so fucking badass is that even though he's in America, Akeem is, his daughters are able to take care of Wesley Snipes' character, who, like I said, just didn't do enough to steal the show when he should have, but they did enough to stop him from trying to take over Zamunda whilst Akeem was in America. And that's another thing as well. Even though Akeem was in America, on 2 occasions during the course of the film, he's in America. Most of this film is set in Zamunda, and I fucking love it. Because we don't need to go back to America all the fucking time. And when I realised that most of the film would be set in Zamunda, it made me enjoy it even more, because we got to see more of Zamunda. And who doesn't want that? I highly recommend this film if you've seen the first one. If you enjoyed the first one, you will enjoy this one. This film is a lot milder when it comes to things like swearing. You won't get as much in this movie with the swearing, but some of the humour is quite vulgar at times. Like, the son thought he was going to get fucking circumcised, even though he is circumcised, and it was just a practical joke they were playing on him. As well as, like, Eddie Murphy kind of almost being raped to a degree by Leslie Chapman, because he thought he was fighting a ram, but it was actually her fucking him. So there's some weird humour there. Nevertheless, it's a good film. I did enjoy it. I do recommend it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.